I'm really super excited to talk to Wendy Appelbaum for She Can today. Wendy, tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
Stephanie, I'm a social activist. I'm a philanthropist. I'm a businesswoman. I'm a fighter. I really love to fight. You have no idea how much I love a fight. But technically, I fight for good. I fight for those who can't fight for themselves. So I've done all sorts of. I've had wonderful fights in my life. I prefer to fight with people I don't know to the people that I love, although I don't always succeed in giving those who deserve it everything. But I've done all sorts of things in my life, and most people would be considering retirement at my age, and as far as I'm concerned, I haven't even got out of the starting blocks.
I love that, Wendy, and that's why you're such a force. Wendy, tell us a little bit more. You're South African, you were born in South Africa, you've done a lot of different business ventures in South Africa. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, I really wanted to be a doctor, and I never got into medical school. And sometimes I think, my God, how my life would have been different, because I wouldn't have had the pleasure and the quality and the quantity of time that I've had had such a varied and interesting life. But I've always been in business, and I've always had a real involvement with women in business, because I think that we've had a rough time in terms of numbers and all sorts of things. So in 1994, we started a really interesting company which was called Wiphold, which is still called Wiphold. It has a slightly different ending to the beginning, which is called the Women's Investment Portfolio. And it was a fascinating board. There were 12 women who got together, and it was really interesting. It was just after the change in the government in South Africa from an apartheid state to the Rainbow Nation, as it was called at the time. And we all got together, black women, white women. And I remember in the apartheid days, I went to Wits University, where I was very lucky to have mixed university, but technically it was illegal to be educated together. I know it sounds bizarre, but that was the thing. So we had an Indian woman, and we had black women, white women. It was this wonderful melting pot of ideas, and actually even looking at different cultures in terms of marriage, in terms of positions in family. It was completely fascinating. And we started the first all-woman run company. It was also the first to list on the stock exchange anywhere in the world. And we listed in South Africa 4 years after we began, where we're bang for buck, but essentially $1 billion debt-free, which we had made in a very short space of time. But we were about the sexiest company around. Everybody was talking about women's involvement in business, and there we were, women, Black economic empowerment. We were so sexy. There were so many deals that we could barely pick. It was rich pickings, and we had the most incredible time. And those board meetings were fascinating because everybody was passionate. It was completely different to a board meeting with men who are very polite to each other and whatever. Women are always in a hurry. They've got more than one job. They've got families to go home to, sometimes to cook meals for, etc. There was no time for crap, to be honest. So we'd have some really fascinating board meetings, I can tell you. Not nowhere near as polite as normal board meetings, but far more interesting and far more effective. And we really got stuff done. And it was really amazing. And that was the other thing that kind of coincided at the time was Mandela came to power, and he made, we talk about incentives, really. I mean, so it was one of his great wishes to have 50% of his government women. And to this day, South Africa is still over 40% of women in government. So was it a quota? Was it it wasn't a, it wasn't a quota, because it was deliberate. And it was done with great love. So I think South African women have actually had a really great time. And they're, I think the representation on boards today is certainly higher than America and the United Kingdom. But in the early days, I think I sat on 15 companies at one point. And eventually I thought to myself, I cannot be one of the only directors. So there were these multiple serial board sitters, really, lots of us. And I actually got together with a lot of the women and said, what we really have to do is give other people opportunities. So say, great, if that's what you're looking for, what real expertise do you need on the board? Why don't you ask so-and-so? She's a lawyer and she would be, far more useful to you than me. So, we did a lot to bring people up. And in those days, the president of South Africa was Mr. Mbeki, and his wife brought actually to South Africa the International Women's Forum. So from the beginning, I was part of that chapter of life, and it was really fascinating how many women we brought along. And one of the things that we did was to teach young women, put them through business schools and business programs, so that they gained skills, so that they could go out and actually be leaders in their community, which they've done. And they have done brilliantly, I can tell you, really brilliantly.
It's fascinating, Wendy. I love listening to you because you have really made such a difference together with other women in South Africa and the world, really, and that you've invested in young women and skills and promoted women into leading positions. It's fascinating. Wendy, what would you think was, I mean, the Wiphold story is a super powerful story because it's incredible, and it's incredible worldwide, not just in South Africa. What would you think is your main motivator now? What do you have fun doing now?
Well, now, as I say, I'm a fighter. I really, really do love to fight. But, I took on the government. I sued the government of South Africa for a lack of duty of care to the poor. And it really came up about microloans that were being grossly disadvantaged in terms of interest rates, which were out of control. I'm talking about 400%, completely unregulated at any level, appalling. And then very, very poor debt collecting with absolutely no care for the victims, because technically that's what they were. And so I sued the government, took them to the Constitutional Court, changed the constitution law around microlending and advantage to the poor. And that was an amazing thing that I did. It took years. It was absolutely fascinating. And at the time, we put back, about 5 billion into the economy on an annual basis for the poor. So that was, that to me is almost more exciting than making money, is actually putting back. So I do a lot of philanthropic activists work, which I love. I absolutely love it. And I'm trying to do, stuff for the kids of tomorrow, because the education system is still in a very, very bad shape. And now I'm a farmer. So it's you're working with the poorest of the poor, essentially, and to get their children out of poverty has been one of my real challenges, and one of the things that I've loved to do as well. So we've raised about 130 million just to put back into the kids of people who work in the winelands. So I do a lot of that stuff, which is great. But I also have to run businesses, because at the end of the day, it's really nice to be able to keep oneself busy and do something properly. So in 2003, 20 years ago, my husband and I bought a vineyard, which we started from scratch. And we just kept a couple of the vines and really I didn't know anything. When I think of what I did then and what I know now, I cannot imagine that I did this. It was bold and it was brave. And if I can say to all women, it is bold. I knew nothing. I took lessons from a very, very special viticulturist who came and taught me everything I know. We walked the vineyards, we replanted them, we retested soils, matched them with grapes. We did all sorts of wonderful things. We kept some grapes and we tried to vinify them to see what the quality was like. And we won 5 stars in the Platter Guide in South Africa, which was our first vintage. There was a big stick to beat ourselves up with, and then it was all about quality, quality, quality. And I must say, it's creative, it's fabulous. I love every minute of it. I've had a number of female assistant winemakers who've gone on to become serious winemakers. And, I think whenever I'm given the opportunity to employ women, I do. And I'll tell you something interesting about employing women to pick grapes. Is that women are slower. There's no doubt in my mind. They talk a lot, which sometimes is distracting. But if you ask for a precision job to be done, I'll tell you, any day, give it to one. Any day. So we pick our grapes so carefully. We literally pick bunches. We do not pick the whole thing. We take the best grapes, and then we come back a few days later when the rest are ripe or whatever. Sometimes we do 3 or 4 passes through one vineyard to make sure of the quality of the grapes. And for that, I only use women.
I love it. Wendy, what would you say is your superpower? What makes you so good? Everything you've had your hand at in life, you've done extremely well, and also setting up a vineyard from scratch. What is it that makes you so good?
I think, listen, I'm not so good, but what I am is I'm passionate about what I do. My attention to detail is huge. I am really quality driven. There's no point in wasting time. I've always said to my children, if you're going to do something, do it properly or don't bother. And I'm hardworking. I love it. I would be so naughty if I wasn't kept busy all day and night, I can tell you. I would be wild, feral, honestly feral. And I think I was always brought up like that. So I kind of taught myself a lot. I didn't have I didn't have helicopter parents in any way whatsoever. I just got on with my life. It was fantastic.
Wendy, what top tips would you give other women? Maybe other women who are starting out with as entrepreneurs, setting up companies. What tips would you give them?
Well, honestly, I really do believe that you've got to be bold, you've got to be brave. Don't take shit. Do not get bullied. Stand up for yourself and stand up for other women. Be a connector. I really do believe in being a connector. And I think that's one of my superpowers. I introduce people. I'm extremely generous with my knowledge. I give of my time. I've done a lot of mentoring, although sometimes I'm not so sure that I want people to turn out like me. I'm a little bit explosive, should we say, and very, very. I can be quite rude, But it is by design, it's not by default. But I think that one just has to be brave in this world. And if you give a man a half a chance, believe me, he will believe or belittle you. And just stand up for yourself.
Yeah. Wendy, what are your plans or dreams for your future? What is in store for the next couple of years?
Well, you know, I'm at that stage in my life where I'm about to be a grandmother. And I've always said to my children, do not rely on me too much to be I'll be a granny, but I ain't going to be no nanny. So, you know, that's part of my next journey, but I'm so far from retiring. I've got a million things that I still want to do, and projects that I'm trying to do. So, yeah, in the philanthropic space, there's some incredible opportunities to really make a difference in people's lives, and that's really what one wants to leave. And the other part about it is that I think whatever you do in life, and I don't do this perfectly, but one should really try and leave a legacy that you're proud of, a legacy that your children are proud of, and an example to others. So if we can do that, and I think if you question each thing that you do and you can answer that fairly and squarely, I think that you'll leave a ding in the universe.
Wendy, thank you so much for talking to me today. This was fantastic.
It's a pleasure.